So I think it's that kind of a breakaway attitude to get going, and like coming over here to retire and all. I find that like exciting. I like change. I think that's being part of being a creative person.
Yeah.
Change is highly stimulating, and it's nothing to fear. That's really, really nice. Turns life into kind of a banquet table.
Yeah, right.
If you stay in a company or stay in your own little life, man, you're going to
eating the same meal every day.
And it may be a good meal, but how about a little variety?
Yeah.
And once you step out, change a little bit, you find that life can explode into something much nicer than you thought you would have access to.
Yeah, I actually think that, you know, it's amazing the statistics about, and I hate to talk a lot about Americans in general, but the amount, the statistics, the numbers, the facts of how many people actually have passports is surprisingly low.
Yeah.
And then of the people that got them, they needed them for a reason, but they don't really travel with them.
Right.
And we've not stepped out and traveled. And the interesting thing about it is when you do step out and travel, and I mean, I delivered boats as a young kid. That was my thing, you know. I ran into somebody and they were delivering boats and said, would you like to come along on a trip to deliver a boat? And I'm like, sure, why not? Well, geez, you know, stepping off the boat, first of all, after 6 days of horrendous weather where I thought I was going to die, okay, you had to be lashed onto the boat every moment you were on deck, because if you got washed over, that would be it. They could never come back and get you. And being seasick and the whole thing. But you stepped off onto the first island, and the culture was different. I remember they were having an all-night parade, and the colorful costumes and the music and everything about it. What I found from that, just from being on the boat or stepping off on that country, it's all of a sudden what kicked in was the things we're missing in our daily lives that I think is stimulating to people, and that's that sense of survival. Coming back to your primal nature, because if you're in that comfort zone, you don't think about food, you don't think about weather, your senses are dulled. As a human being, we're dulled. And as soon as you step off, well, you have to be aware of the people around you, your surroundings, you know? Is this person okay? Is this person maybe not okay to be around? Is it going to rain when I walk down the street? Where am I going to eat? What am I going to do? You know, all these things heighten your sense of awareness. And I think once you feel that stimulation, it's hard to go back. A guy I just interviewed that's actually came over from watching the tapes and everything, he hadn't been here for a long time. And he was married to a Thai lady for a while back home. And he says, when he did a telephone consultation with me before he came over, and he was talking about what he missed were the sounds, the smells, and all these things that he found himself going to Asian grocery stores and Asian restaurants just to get a taste of what he was missing, because it opened up such an awareness to new things that he felt like he was missing that when he went back home. And I think that's one of the things, that sense of going back to our primal state of being aware. I think it's just an awareness of life, of every moment, and how important it is, and how we need to be in tune with those things. And when you step off the plane, all of a sudden, because everything is new, we step into that, every moment is important. And I think that's where life lies, in that every moment.
Well, it's very reassuring too. I mean, it's reinforcive. We realize if we step out of our own comfort boundaries, we can handle anything. We're up to it, and we don't know that if we don't ever do it.
That's right. We are up to the challenge.
It's like my first trip to Europe. I was embarrassed at how easy this was.
Yeah.
You know, and you just can't let fear hold you back. As far as I know, we get one run at this thing. Why not go all the way?
That's
you know,
right.
try things. And it's like, you talk about all that surrounds you. I have a really nice, comfortable life at home. I love what I do, and I like where I am. But that evening, I'm sitting at home, and I think it would be so nice to step out the door and be on the streets of Chiang Mai and run down there and get some soup from the street vendor. I mean, immaculately clean. A lot of people say, "Oh, you eat that street food? Isn't it unsanitary?" We're kind of over the top on that, but it's something
we are over the top.
We don't have in our country, so we're not used to it, and it's unusual, foreign.
And we think the government doesn't allow it because it's not for our that it's for our safety not to have that. And it's funny because being over here, the only times I've ever gotten sick was eating at chain restaurants. And I've tried to explain to people, it's like, don't worry about it because they don't have a lot of refrigeration, and some people see that, oh, that's a downside, that's not good. But the thing about it is they go to the market every day. Go to a market in the morning, everybody's there.
Yeah.
And they only use what they bought for that day. And if you show up at 3 o'clock and you want chicken and vegetables, and they say, well, we don't have chicken. Oh, well, what do you have?
Yeah.
And the reason why is because they bought it that morning, they sold more than they thought, and it's gone. Okay.
Hey, and don't forget the price.
Yeah, the price.
I mean, it's unbelievable, the cost of things around here. I love groceries. I'm really into food. I mean, it's one of the benefits of world travel. In Thailand, I couldn't eat $5 worth of food. I'd explode first.
You'd explode.
Really?
And that's my tagline for my website, as people know watching. More life for less money.
Yeah, true.
And when we talk about more life, I didn't say more food for less money. I didn't say a more apartment for less money. I didn't say more transportation for less money. It's more life, tangible and intangible. And the intangible things are the things that are really hard to pass on to people, to have them understand. What are some of the intangible things that you get that are of more of abundance than what we have back home in our compartmentalized life?
Well, I've gotten used to, every time I'm on a plane headed to Southeast Asia, my tail starts wagging.
I love that. That's
early
good.
on, I wondered why that was. And there's kind of a sensibility over here. Maybe it's because of, you know, the Buddhist religion or whatever. But I mean, people are really nice. They're really friendly. Nobody's trying to rip you off. You can be really relaxed and comfortable.
I heard it changes
here.
if you go to some places like those parts of India where you got to watch every transaction. In Vietnam, this is why I live in Thailand, because I don't get that feeling here.
Well, there are places, as we know, anywhere in the world where if you're walking down the street, you realize, ooh, I feel uncomfortable. Real simple. Leave.
That's right. And I actually, one of the things, if I summed up the cultures in a lot of these places, I say it's opportunistic culture.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is they don't have a lot, and so they're always looking for where can they get more opportunity, more value. And if we're stupid and we offer it to them, they're going to take it.
That's right. Yeah.
You know?
No victims, just volunteers.
That's right. No victims, on volunteers.
Beep,
I love
beep,
that.
Beep, coming down the street.
And so, you know, it's that thing, in God we trust, and tie up our camels. You know what I'm saying? I come from the premise that people are going to be honest until they prove otherwise.
Yeah.
And, you know, I pay attention, you know. But the thing about it is, you know, like you said, the people are more friendly here and more open. And I notice even foreigners that step off a plane here that used to not want to talk to strangers and everything, when it becomes culturally acceptable to be open and friendly, they adapt. Just like I go back. And the antithesis, you know, I'm open and friendly to people, and then I, you know, say something to somebody in a grocery store, and they look at me like, well, why are you talking to me? I don't know you.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've actually apologized to people back home, you know, because I said, oh, that's really great, you ought to try it. And they give me this look, and I go, listen, if I've offended you in some way by talking to you, I want to apologize. I live in a culture where it's acceptable to talk to strangers, and it's okay. It's called being friendly. And if I've you know, if I've done something to make you feel bad, I want to apologize, and then I'll walk on my way. Just have them think about what happened, what transpired there. Somebody was friendly for no motive, and there was no bad thing involved in it, and yet... And
you won't miss that over here. I mean, it's too bad we've lost that. We're suspicious of each other. I mean, a friend of mine once described the American way of life. Get up in the morning, you go to work, you jam all day, you come home, you get something to eat, stop at the grocery store, go home, lock the door, turn the tube on, or sit down behind the computer. Whereas most people in the world don't live at home. They don't entertain at home.
They don't live that kind of life.
The work day's over, they hit the streets and roam around, and I mean, that's like the intangibles you're talking about. There are nights when I wish I could walk out the door and be in Bangkok or Chiang Mai or Hanoi or Saigon, someplace where there's life and there's color. You don't need an entertainment budget. Just strolling around
it's
is
entertainment all the time.
And
There's
here
always
in Chiang Mai,
input.
Yeah.
I feel we live in a box life back home. We live in a box. We go home, we get in the box to go to work, and we sit in a box. We eat a box lunch. We stare at the box. Come get back in our box, go home to our box, stare at the box again, and it's a box life where, like you say, when you step out the door here, one of the things I don't think was a good thing was about zoning in America. And I understand the intention behind it, but I think it's now made us fat because we can't walk out the door like we do here, or in a lot of European, everywhere. Even big cities in the United States have it to a certain degree where you walk outside and there's a place next door you can buy bread or buy pastries. And then you go a couple of doors down, you can buy your milk or your juice or something like that. And you can get your hair cut across the street, and you hand the laundry. And it's your neighborhood, and it's your environment, and you're supporting those people. And you know who their kids are, who you're giving money to that helps them go to school and stuff. It's a cultural difference. And we have that over here. And I think that we're missing that in the United States because it's a sense of connection with your environment. And we've lost that sense of connection.
I feel like I've rejoined the human race when I'm over here. I mean, it's all going on.
I like that. Rejoin the human race.
Something that we were breeding out of our society. Another interesting thing for anybody that would relocate over here, there's a very interesting expat community here.
Yes, there is.
People from all over the world and more in touch with each other. I mean, foreigners in a foreign country kind of rely on each other a little bit more than they would at home.
That's right.
And they're not going to be offended or surprised that you talk to them out of the clear blue. It changes everything. It changes everything, makes it lighter, simpler. It's just
my
more
website's
entertaining.
the first step to that because we're all like-minded people that are thinking about this or doing it. And the whole idea is to create a sense of community. And the community is a start online and say, okay, here, we're all in the same boat. We all want the same things. Let's answer each other's questions, communicate with each other, and then from there, step out and actually experience it, and then come back and help other people to do that. And that's the goal of the website, the membership site.
If you want to test drive it, you couldn't do better than Chiang Mai because it is so easy, so comfortable. I mean, I've been in and out of Southeast Asia all my life. I use like Chiang Mai as my base because it's so comfortable and so easy.
That's what I've said before.
And so welcoming. And then I'll bounce off to different places. Just came back from Tibet, and it's so nice to be. I feel like I'm home, and I can just take it easy for a while and walk out on the street and have some of that wonderful soup.
Well, you and I both come from the Gulf Coast, and it's like I miss the water, I miss the beaches and everything. But when I go to the south and I go to those areas, it's not as friendly, as comfortable. I always, when I've stepped back, even when I didn't live in Chiang Mai, I come back here and it always felt like I was coming home. But I'm not sure, for you all watching, we ran out of the battery on the camera. We talked for so long, and so I'm not sure where we lost it. And so I'm not really sure where we're going to pick it up. But we'll probably, sort of wrap this up at this point. But I think it's been really helpful. It's been an interesting conversation, to say the least, and I think people are going to find a lot of value in it. That you step off over here and it feels more like home just because of the. Some people say we have 6 human needs, and they've narrowed it down to 6 things that we need, and some of those are variety, certainty, a certain amount of certainty. Love, connection, there's a number of these things. And I think when you step off into some of these other countries, more of your human needs are being fulfilled than our traditional lives back home. Now, of course, there's some people are an aberration to that, and they've created a wonderful life back home. They got a great circle of friends and stuff like that. But when you step over here, it's just easier to be alive, feel alive, because of that sense of connection. That you're connecting with everybody, everything you do, and the culture is more open. It's more family-oriented, more society-oriented. It's not about. Very rarely do you see Thai people eating alone. They're always with their friends. They're always with somebody.
They feel sorry for you if you're doing things alone.
Yeah.
Why
Actually,
would
even
you
as
do
a
that?
foreigner, if I'm eating alone or something, they say, "Come over and eat." You know, would you like? There'll be guys drinking a beer. Here, come on, here's a glass, and they want you to become part of their society. They want you to be part of what they're doing, and that's refreshing. You know.
It's effortless on our part.
It
you know,
is
to
effortless.
adapt. It's very effortless. I just thought of one thing for the expat over here. People, if they've never been to Asia, they think, oh boy, that's real different. That's as different as you can get and stay on the same planet. Different language, and they're Asians, you know, and this mysterious thing about Asians. You walk around here, there's all kinds of used English language bookstores, which also have books in German, French, etc. You walk around, anything that you're used to, anything you need, prescriptions, clothing, malls, you name it.
It's funny you said that.
Bingo. It's all available.
It's all available. They think, you know, a lot of people. I've actually told somebody before I met them, and I said, you know, oh, they said, I haven't seen you for a long time. Well, where you been? I said, well, I live over in Thailand. And they go, well, what's Taiwan like?
Yeah,
and I said, no, Taiwan.
All the same thing.
Oh, it's all the same.
Yeah, they think you go around in rickshaws and you eat rice.
Yeah, or you're in the rice fields on water buffaloes. And I mean, you know, some of the malls here rival what we have back home.
21st century.
It's 21st century.
Yeah.
So, and now some of the places I actually like to step off of that beaten path, you know, off the beaten path, and go to places where we don't have those luxuries. Because again, to me, I feel more alive there. I have to be, you know, I can't, you know, because you can get comfortable here as well.
Oh yeah.
It'd be very easy to settle into a routine. The routine will be cheaper, but you'll still have a routine. But the thing about it is, it offers the opportunity here. And I just did a video about how inexpensive it is to travel around. Once you get here, even if you don't have a big budget, it's still inexpensive to go see different places. And you know, if you get too comfortable, okay, I want to take a trip to Vietnam, or a trip to Cambodia, or to Kathmandu. It's doable on this side.
Or just in Thailand, the mountains surrounding Chiang Mai. Well, some of the most beautiful beaches on earth.
Oh, one time I was sitting at a beach, and I was in the hammock, and my little bungalow was 25 feet from the water, lapping up, and I started to calculate, and I said, this is costing me, for the room, it was like, the bungalow was $8 a night.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, $8 a night, and I'm swinging in the hammock, listening to the water, and I'm going, this is a cheap lifestyle. And the place that I was staying actually had a little internet shop there, where you had internet connection to be able to, you know, talk to your loved ones back home, send emails and everything. And you ate on the beach with the waves lapping up with tiki torches. Go down to the shore
when the fish boats come in, pick a fresh fish, they bring it up to a restaurant.
Yeah, you can actually bring a fish and ask them to cook it. They're not going to go, no, you didn't buy that here, you can't eat it. They're not like that. They're flexible, because they have to be flexible, and that's their culture, is being flexible. So if you're kind and you're nice and you have a connection with these people, what if you ask them to do, they'll do for you. And of course, you can compensate them in some way, but if you're staying in their guest house or you're eating at a restaurant, you are compensating them. And so they're more than happy to accommodate you. And so this is a really refreshing thing. But, you know, it's really great. You know, Jim just showed back up in town. I've only seen him once before this interview, and it's really good to see you again. I miss our conversations. You know, sometimes we're just going to have our conversations to ourselves, and I'm going to tape them and throw them up on another website I have, just for people to actually sit in, because we have some really interesting conversations, he and I, and you know, about all sorts of stuff. And so, but I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts and ideas with people watching. I think they're going to get a lot of value and benefit out of it, which is always my goal, is to, you know, have people learn something and experience something and maybe pick up some things about, you know, and make it easier for them to make a transition in their lives, because a lot of people now are going through a transition period, and any way we can create value to help them do that, I think, is a good thing. And I think our conversation, where they're seeing life from different points of view of different people who are out there traveling, and say it's okay to get off the couch, or it's okay to get out from behind the computer and go experience life, because once you do, it's like you notice there's a big contrast between watching life and experiencing life. And that's, you know, a lot of people are trying to do life, and it's not something you do, it's something you live. You know, we live life. And so stepping out and actually taking the time to come over and seeing if it's right. But I have a feeling a lot of people, once they do that, it's going to become addictive, and they'll say, yeah, I can do this for sure. And so I want to thank you for helping make that a reality for people.
It's a lot easier than you think.
Yeah, it's a lot easier, you know. Remember, I always finish every video that I do, remember, there's always an option.
Yeah.
And that's the thing to realize, that no matter how bad things get, there's options. And it, like you started out saying, it's a choice. And even not making the choice is a choice. And you know, so you can choose to sit and just complain about it or feel bad about it, or you can make the choice to look for options and change your life. And so I think that this has been really helpful. And again, I want to thank you. I'm glad to have you as a friend.
My pleasure.
Take care. All right. Thanks again. Remember, there's always an option.